New elements appeared in the dream vision, shapes of vessels hanging in the orange void, their forms suggesting imperial design but twisted somehow, as if seen through disturbed water. He could almost make out their names, almost read the registry numbers on their hulls, but they kept shifting just out of focus. He woke with a start, his augmetic eye automatically adjusting to the darkness. The whispers lingered in his mind, clearer now than they had been during planetfall. Something about returning to the void seemed to strengthen their presence, as if they were drawing closer to their source. Rising from his bunk, he moved to his desk where the young girl's drawing from the port still lay. Its cheerful colors provided a stark contrast to the mysterious visions that plagued his rest. Yet both served as reminders of his duty, to protect humanity while pursuing the truth behind these messages that called to them from the darkness of space. All three battle barges, Emperor's Wrath, Sword of Dawn, and the Charging Bull, engaged in a very old custom called Changing of the Guard, where the three barges exchanged soldiers and marines with each other, strengthening the bond between this nomadic chapter of Nocturne. Captain Zavis watched from the main hangar as warriors and crew members transferred between vessels. Battle brothers in their emerald armor moved with practiced efficiency, some leaving for their new assignments on sister ships, others arriving to take up duties aboard the Sword of Dawn. The whispers in his mind seemed to quiet during this ancient tradition. Chapter Master Volux observed from the Emperor's Wrath, his massive form distinctive even at a distance, the bull-headed helm at his waist, and three golden implants in his forehead catching the light from the hangar bays. Under his watchful eye, Thunderhawks and smaller craft ferried personnel between the three mighty vessels. Commissar Valdaus stood to one side, his peaked cap and long coat marking him distinct among the Astartes as he studied this unfamiliar ritual. His eyes tracked the precise movements of marines and crew between ships, no doubt noting how this practice differed from traditional Imperial Navy protocols. Throughout all three ships, barge mothers helped integrate transferred crew members, while tech priests blessed equipment moving between vessels. The ceremony represented more than simple crew rotation. It was a reminder that despite their life in the void, far from their homeworld of Nocturne, they remained one unified chapter. As the ancient ritual drew to a close, the three battle barges had effectively shuffled their crews, ensuring that when they entered the warp, they would do so as a truly integrated fleet, bonds between ships strengthened by shared blood and purpose. Chapter 13. 3 days into their warp transit, Captain Zavis paced the corridors of the Sword of Dawn, his footsteps echoing against the metal deck plates. Despite the maddening nature of the warp outside their Geller fields, life aboard had settled into an almost monotonous routine. In the training decks, the rhythmic sounds of combat practice echoed as Marines drilled endlessly. The ship's teaching halls buzzed with the voices of children, learning voidcraft and Imperial history from veteran barge mothers. Tech priests moved through maintenance cycles, their binary cant mixing with the eternal prayers that kept their vessel's machine spirits calm in the immaterium. The whispers in his mind continued, but even they seemed to have settled into a predictable pattern, no longer providing new insights or visions. The mysterious call that had set them on this path now felt like background noise, constant but unrevealing. Commissar Valdaus had integrated himself into the ship's routine, spending hours studying historical records when not observing the chapter's unique practices. Even his initial fascination with their methods had given way to familiarity. Through the armored viewports, the swirling madness of the warp churned endlessly. Zavis found himself checking the navigator's time estimates more frequently, eager for their emergence into real space where they might finally begin unraveling the mystery that plagued them. The warrior in him craved action, answers, anything to break the monotony of void travel. Throughout the three vessels of their fleet, Emperor's Wrath, Sword of Dawn, and the Charging Bull, similar scenes played out. Warriors and crew going about their duties with professional precision, but growing restlessness. Even the chapter master's daily briefings had become exercises in reporting that nothing had changed. Captain Zavis waited in his office as barge mother Helena entered, carrying his traditional recaf. Her weathered features and silver hair marked her as one of the vessel's most experienced crew members, having served aboard the Sword of Dawn for over 4 decades. "My lord," she said, setting down the steaming cup. "You wanted to discuss morale?" "Yes," Zavis replied, gesturing for her to sit. The dragons on his robes shifted in the office's dim light. The routine of warp travel wears on everyone. Even Astartes need diversions. What games do the crew play to pass the time? Helena's eyes lit up with understanding. "Ah, we have several traditions for long voyages, my lord. The younger crew members are particularly fond of void ball in the cargo bays, when properly supervised, of course. The tech priests run logic puzzle tournaments that are quite popular. And the more martial competitions? The training cages see plenty of use," she nodded. "But perhaps what you're looking for is the Hunter's Challenge. It's an old game dating back to when the chapter first began void travel. Teams compete in modified combat scenarios throughout the ship's corridors. Very popular with both Marines and crew, though it's been some time since we last organized one." The whispers in Zavis's mind seemed to quiet as he considered this, as if even they were interested in the prospect of breaking the monotony. "Tell me more about this Hunter's Challenge," he said, reaching for his recaf. "Perhaps it's time to revive the tradition."